The AirTag wasn't supposed to be in her bag. It was left over from a weekend trip we took a month before. I'd used it to track our luggage because her biggest fear was airlines losing the bag with her face serum and yoga mat. I don't know why I didn't mention it when she packed. Maybe I forgot, maybe I didn't. She stood at the front door with her duffels, oversized hoodie, hair in a loose bun. Her eyes were puffy, but not from crying. Just puffy, like she'd been practicing something in the mirror and hadn't slept much. She said, "I'm not okay. I need space. Time to feel like myself again." I didn't argue, just nodded and said, "Text me when you get there." She looked relieved I didn't push. Then she leaned down, kissed our dog on the head and walked out. I watched her drive away with one hand on the wheel, the other adjusting the volume. Her taillights blinked once at the corner. That was it. She said it was a cabin, owned by a friend, no cell service, off the grid, some spot in the woods she could just breathe. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But hours passed, no message, no "made it safe," not even a missed call. So I opened the app. The AirTag pinged a location in the city, not the woods, not even close. Downtown, right near 11th and Garden, a coffee shop, a wine bar, and 2 doors over, a brick building with frosted windows and no signage. I waited, thought maybe it was a pit stop, maybe the friend was meeting her in the city first. But the dot didn't move. At midnight I checked again, same place. Next morning, still there. So I zoomed in, clicked the address, looked it up. Loft apartments, 1 bedroom, exposed brick, modern lighting, rent-controlled. It didn't match any cabin I'd ever seen. I knew what it meant, but I didn't want to know. So I kept refreshing, hour after hour, like maybe I'd catch it shifting, heading north out of range. But it never did. Day 2, still the same dot. I sat at our kitchen table, her mug still drying in the dish rack, her candle still half-burnt on the windowsill, her scent still floating in the blanket she left on the couch. It wasn't a disappearance. It was a reroute. She left, but not for space, not for healing, not for the woods. She left for somewhere she already knew. And that AirTag, it told me the part she never would. We weren't perfect, but we had our rhythm. Grocery runs on Sundays, her oat milk, my black coffee, a shared shopping list we updated in real time. She always wrote the word treat in the cart like a secret between us. Sometimes it was chocolate, sometimes it was silence. She hated how I folded shirts, said I rolled them like I was packing for a trip that never came, but she let me do it anyway. I used to sit on the couch while she worked on puzzles at the dining table. That was her thing, puzzles. Said it helped her slow her brain down. She liked to work on the edges first, always the edges. We didn't fight much, not loudly anyway. When things felt off, she'd get quiet. I'd do something useful, fix a drawer, deep clean the fridge. That was our language. I remember once, early on, she told me, "If I start to drift, pull me back." I said, "I will." She smiled like that was all she needed, and for a long time maybe it was. We made it through a rough patch last year. She got sick, not life-threatening, just long, the kind of sick that eats away at your identity. She couldn't eat certain foods, couldn't sleep through the night. I did the appointments, the driving, the meal planning. I kept us moving forward. She used to grab my hand in waiting rooms, grip it without looking at me, just to know I was there. One night I caught her crying in the bathroom. She said, "I'm not who I was." I said, "You're still you, just a tired version." She laughed through the tears. "Promise you won't leave this version of me." Never. We didn't talk about that again. After she started getting better, something else shifted. She smiled less but went out more, wanted air, said she needed time alone to recenter. At first, I gave it to her. Of course I did. You don't nurse someone through sickness and then deny them space when they're finding their feet again. But the space grew. She stopped sitting near me on the couch, stopped sending the little messages during the day, stopped waiting up when I worked late. I thought maybe it was just aftershock, the body resetting. Then she booked a weekend away, alone. Said she was going to a retreat upstate, nature, meditation, journaling. I helped her pack, gave her my charger. She kissed my forehead like a nurse leaving a patient. She came back softer, distant but less tense, said it helped, said she was thinking more clearly. I didn't ask for details. I thought the point was trust. When she said she needed space again, longer this time, I didn't fight it. She said, I'm unraveling. I need to step away and do it somewhere safe. Alone, I asked. She nodded completely. I said, okay. Because that's what love sounds like when you're trying to prove you still believe in it. And when she walked out that door, I had no reason to doubt her. Except one. At first, I believed her. She didn't leave with anger, no slammed doors, no accusations. She packed like someone escaping a noise only she could hear. She cried while folding her sweatshirt, not loud sobs, just tears sliding down her face, steady and silent. I didn't ask her to stop, just handed her a tissue and kept refolding the towels she said I rolled wrong. She looked at me and said, I'm not okay. I nodded. I don't know who I am anymore. You'll figure it out, I said. She smiled like that hurt more than helped. Then she said, don't call, please. Okay. She added, I'll be thinking about you. I didn't say I'd be doing the same, because I wasn't sure it would be true. The night she left, the house was still. Our dog sat at the front door for hours, just staring. I laid in bed and stared at the spot on the ceiling where the paint had bubbled from a leak last spring. I didn't cry, but I didn't sleep either. The next day, I cleaned the kitchen like it was a ritual. Her tea mug was still on the counter, the one with the chipped handle she refused to throw away. I washed it, dried it, and placed it back exactly where it was. I told myself this was what love looked like, quiet faith. But somewhere in the back of my head, that AirTag blinked, just once. I opened the app. I didn't expect to see anything. Just wanted reassurance maybe, a dot in the forest, somewhere green. But there it was downtown, same place, second night, same building. A part of me said maybe she just needed Wi-Fi, maybe she's grabbing supplies. I wanted to believe that. So I refreshed the app, every hour, then every 2. I stopped after seeing the dot still there at 3:18 a.m. She wasn't at a cabin. She wasn't meditating by a lake or breathing fresh air under the trees. She was parked downtown, right next to the place her ex used to live. I recognized the area immediately. We'd been to a Thai place on that block years ago. She wouldn't eat there anymore. Said the memories didn't sit right. She said she'd blocked him, said he was toxic, said he never knew how to love anyone but himself. But her bag told a different story. Still, I didn't confront her, not yet. I started watching other things. Her Spotify activity went quiet. Her Instagram stories were vague, skis, tea, a quote about learning to come home to yourself. She never once mentioned me. The next night, same location. Third night, she moved 2 blocks just for a few hours, then back again. I looked up the address. New lofts, walk-up style, no security desk, short-term leases available by the week. Her old college friend had shared a listing from the same building on her story 6 months ago. I checked. The tag was gone now. The fourth night, the AirTag blipped again, same pattern. That's when something inside me stopped spinning. I sat at our dining table with my laptop open, the location blinking like a metronome, and I realized. She wasn't confused, she wasn't lost. She was lying. And I think the worst part wasn't where she was. It was that she looked me in the eye and still asked me to trust her. Like it was owed. Like she'd earned it. The air tag wasn't some gotcha trick. It was just the thing she forgot. But I hadn't. I remembered everything. I stared at the map. Zoomed in, refreshed, same spot, over and over, like maybe if I blinked hard enough it would shift, move north, toward trees, toward anything that looked like solitude. But the blue dot never moved. Loft building, same unit cluster, third floor, corner end. I looked it up online. Photos showed exposed brick Edison bulb fixtures, those heavy gray curtains people only buy when they know they'll be seen from outside. The listing was under a woman's name I didn't recognize, but the utilities, those were still linked to her ex. The one she said broke her. The one she said she'd blocked. I pulled up old texts from her looking for contradictions, cross-reference dates, read the way she said, "I need quiet," then matched it to the timestamp where the dot showed up at a wine bar next door to his building. It wasn't rage I felt, it was stillness. Cold, pressing stillness, like standing in a hallway you used to live in after the lights have gone out. I screenshotted everything. That night she sent me a message, just 5 words, "Thinking of you, still healing." I replied, "Take your time." She didn't know I had already marked every address ping, every timestamp, every place she told me she was. She didn't know I was building a record, not a confrontation. I ordered a small journal, plain black, pocket-sized, wrote nothing but facts. 3/22, 6:14 p.m. Location update. 11th and Garden, 2 hours, no movement. 3/23, 11:05 p.m. Apartment blip. Arrived at 10:47. Left 1:23 a.m. I didn't label feelings, didn't underline, just dates times behavior. She called once a few days in. Said, "I've been crying a lot." I said, "That's okay." She said, "I don't want to lose us." I said, "You won't." She cried a little louder. I stayed quiet. That night the AirTag pinged in a different spot. A hotel this time. Still downtown. One of those trendy ones with rooftop bars and vintage decor in the lobby. I looked it up. The same hotel we went to the night I proposed. That was the first time I felt my breath catch. Not anger, not heartbreak. Just a complete shift. I realized I wasn't hurt anymore. I was done. I knew where she was, I knew who she was with, and I knew deep down she wasn't confused, she wasn't healing. She was choosing. Deliberately, repeatedly. I ordered a new folder that night, sturdy, black, snap enclosure, no label. I printed everything. Maps, call logs, overlapping times from both our phone bills. I screen captured her "I need solitude" message and printed it next to the GPS ping of her arriving at his place 10 minutes later. The contrast didn't need commentary. It just needed context. On a whim I looked back further, 6 months of bank statements. She'd Venmo'd someone listed as C for flowers, lunch, help with tech, always small, always spaced out. I looked up his initials, matched. I printed those too. I didn't plan to confront her. I wasn't building a case to win an argument. I was documenting silence. The kind you can't talk your way out of. The kind that speaks on its own. She texted again the next night, said she was ready to talk soon. I said, "Whenever you are." And I meant it. Because by then, I already knew how the conversation would end. I stopped asking questions. Just started paying attention. She didn't notice when I unlinked her from the utilities. Didn't notice when I changed the passcode on the shared drive with our tax records and photo backups. Didn't notice when I started moving money out of the joint account and into a new one with a name only I knew. She kept texting like nothing had changed. "Thinking about you, cabin air feels so good." I'd open the message, read it once, and file it under her name in a folder labeled narratives. That's what they were now, stories, little pieces of fiction wrapped in emojis and vague truths. She still had no idea about the AirTag, still thought her silence was strategic, like she was playing some emotional chess match and I hadn't noticed the board. But I wasn't playing. I was walking away while she stayed busy circling herself. I started gathering documents, lease agreements, receipts, screenshots, timeline entries, anything that showed two truths running side by side, the one she was selling me and the one that was actually happening. I didn't plan a confrontation. I wasn't building up to a fight. I was building a foundation to walk away from. Her text changed tone midweek. I'm feeling lighter. The space really helped. Then, I've been journaling. It made me think of us. Then, I think I'm ready to come back. That one made me pause. I reread it 3 times. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry, but because there was nothing left to say. Instead, I called a friend in legal, asked about separation protocol. No divorce, just a quiet, clean split. Cohabitation agreement review, property division. My friend didn't ask why, just said, email me what you've got. I sent the folder, no subject line. He replied in under an hour, this is airtight. Meanwhile, she posted a quote on Instagram. Healing isn't linear. Be patient with those finding their way back. She captioned it, learning this daily. The comments were all hearts and supportive words. No one asked who she was healing from. She still hadn't noticed the accounts changing, or that her name was no longer listed on the shared storage account we paid for annually. The AirTag kept pinging. Same block, same loft. 3 days before she said she was coming home, I set up a redirect on her old email. Anything suspicious got backed up. I saw a forwarded reservation confirmation. Hotel rooftop dinner, 7 p.m., 2 guests. Not my name. Just a smiley face from the sender and the subject line. You deserve a night to remember. I archived it. She texted again that night. I've been thinking about the little things you used to do. I miss that version of us. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I clicked mark as read. I didn't block her. I just made a copy of the entire thread, saved it in the folder, labeled it Tone Shift, Phase 2. She still thought I was waiting. Still thought I was spinning in circles, wondering what I did wrong. But I wasn't spinning. I was building a way out, quietly, thoroughly. And when she came back, I'd be ready to open the door and not let her in. 2 weeks later, she came home. No warning, no build-up. Just a text, I'm outside, can we talk? I opened the door and there she was, same duffel, different energy. Hair curled, makeup soft, hoodie zipped just enough to look effortless. She looked like someone returning from a retreat, not a betrayal. She smiled. Not sheepish, not apologetic, just light, like we'd survived something together. I stepped aside. She hugged me. Longer than I expected. She said, I miss the smell of this place. Then she looked around, took in the house like it was a memory she wanted to repaint. I nodded toward the kitchen table. There's something for you. Her smile faded just a little. She walked over, dropped the bag, and sat. The folder was already waiting, black, sealed, centered. She looked up. What is it? You'll see. She opened it. First page, the printout of her off-grid message time-stamped. Next to it, the location history from the AirTag, her bag parked downtown. Second page, call logs, her number, his, overlapping entries. Third, screenshots of text messages I recovered from the redirected email. The one she forgot was still synced to our Apple account. Her fingers trembled slightly as she flipped the pages. Not fast, not slow, just enough to know she didn't want to miss anything, but she already knew what was coming. She didn't speak until halfway through. Then, without looking at me, she said, I didn't plan for it to happen this way. I sat across from her, quiet. She swallowed. It wasn't about you, I needed to feel something again. I said nothing. I was unraveling. I tilted my head, at his apartment. Her eyes finally met mine. You don't understand what it's like to feel invisible. I didn't flinch. She kept going. He was just there, when I couldn't breathe, when I needed to remember I was still wanted. I reached into the envelope and slid out the final paper. A separation agreement, simple, fair, no contest. Her jaw set, so that's it. I nodded. You said you needed space. I'm just giving you what you asked for. Tears welled in her eyes. I came back. Yeah, I said, but not to stay. Silence wrapped the room. She looked around, maybe searching for something to anchor to, but everything was where she left it. The picture frame on the bookshelf, her tea mug on the rack, her scent already gone from the air. I can't believe you did this, she said quietly. I didn't do anything, I said. I just stopped pretending. She stood up. You're cold. No, I said, I'm clear. She looked at the folder again, hands shaking now. You didn't even ask why. I didn't need to. She walked to the door slowly, turned back once, hand on the knob. Her voice cracked just a little. I thought you loved me. I did. And that was true. But she wasn't the same her, and I wasn't the same me. She left without taking the duffel, just keys and phone. I watched her walk down the driveway, back to a car she didn't park straight. And when she turned the corner, I exhaled for the first time in weeks. Not from relief, but from release. She moved in with a friend across town, one of those people who always called me too serious, said I needed to loosen up. Fitting. She left her duffel on the floor of our entryway, never came back for it, still hasn't. She told people I'd grown distant while she was healing, that I shut her out when she needed patience. Her version of things spread fast. No one asked why I wasn't saying anything. They just nodded when she cried. I let them. I didn't argue, didn't defend. I let her shape the narrative while I disappeared from it. She texted 3 days after she left. Said, can we please talk? I didn't reply. 2 days later. I'm not trying to undo anything. I miss talking to you. Still nothing. Then came the voice notes. Soft-spoken, practiced pauses. I know I messed up, but I wasn't trying to replace what we had. I listened to one, once. She sounded like she was speaking through someone else's mouth. Not the girl who used to nudge me awake just to show me the sunrise. I archived the message. She posted another quote. Sometimes love means letting go when the other person isn't ready. Captioned it, trying to accept this. I never responded. Her AirTag, still in that duffel, pinged from time to time, mostly from her car, the same car that drove by my street 3 times one night. I checked the security cam. Headlights paused, engine idled, then gone. She unfollowed me a week later, refollowed 2 days after that. I said nothing. She sent a picture of us from last year, said, remember this night. I remembered everything, but I didn't reply. The folder she'd flipped through at the kitchen table, still untouched, sitting in the drawer. I thought about throwing it out once. Couldn't. Not because I wanted to hold on, but because some truths shouldn't be deleted, only stored. The dog stopped waiting at the door after the second week. Some nights I'd catch him lying beside the duffel, just quiet. He moved on faster than I did. But not by much. I don't hate her. That's the part people don't understand. They expect fire, rage, something to make sense of the silence I gave her. But hate takes effort. And I gave her enough already. She said she needed space, said she couldn't breathe around anyone, said solitude was the only way she could find herself again. I believed her, or I wanted to, but the AirTag told a cleaner story than she ever did. And once I saw the truth, I didn't need explanations. I needed peace. I didn't get revenge, not really. I just stopped feeding the version of her that needed my confusion to survive. She used to say I was unreachable when I shut down. I used to think that was a flaw. Now I see it as a gift. There's power in not reacting, in letting someone talk themselves into a corner while you walk away without slamming the door. She called me cold. I call it clarity. She asked months later if I still remembered the little things. The first time she made me laugh, our inside jokes, the song we used to play when we cooked together. I do. I just don't remember them with longing anymore. They're facts now, artifacts. Memories don't always fade. Sometimes they just go quiet. I still sleep on my side of the bed, still leave space on the other side. But it's not for her. It's for the man I was, steady, patient, forgiving. He deserved better. And now he gets to stretch out. She said she hoped I'd remember the good parts. I do. But they're not enough to carry the weight of the lie. She asked for distance, and I gave her more than she asked for. This is Revenge with Camden. If you've ever been betrayed by the person you trusted most, hit subscribe. You're not alone.